Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with another episode 5 of Symphogear. So last time we kind of find out the lengths that Tsubasa will go to, basically keep up this idea that she needs to be a weapon rather than a, person. Even to the point of using her ultimate song, which is basically a one hit kill against the user. Luckily, she was managed to get to medical attention in time, and was saved. But that's not always the case, as we saw in the first episode with Kanade, who did not survive. And I believe I was told in the comments that the circumstances surrounding everything and how I forgot exactly what it was saying. Like some with the circumstances at hand, that's why Kanade turned turned into dust basically after using it instead of just like regularly dying. Um, it had a different effect because of everything that was going on or whatnot. Um, I don't remember, like, again, the exact details of what the comment said, but it's there, so you don't have to remind me again. Um, but yeah, um, so we see that kind of like the intense realness of this is all coming into play with this mysterious other person being able to summon the noise with a staff, which apparently is not part of the armor, I guess. Another thing I was told. Um, so that's interesting. That means if the staff is its own separate thing, like, what is it and how can it control and summon noise? It's a very interesting question, to be sure. And I guess we'll just have to keep watching to find out. Um, but yeah, like, kind of, we're starting to kind of be given the stakes and everything for all of this. Um, Hibiki's starting to learn that this is not just something simple that she can just like kind of glide through. That there's real life or death stakes here, and that she needs to become stronger. So she's taking on some training, and yeah, hopefully that will help. Hopefully that will do a lot to help her, and we're just going to kind of have to see how that all goes. And with that, I was told specifically the vocal training and everything, it's like, even though the song comes from the heart and all, it's like you still have to have like you would still have to have like vocal training because you still have to be able to, like, work well with your vocal cords and everything. It's like the song is like coming from the Symphogear and like being like pumped into you, but you still have to have the ability to sing. Otherwise, it doesn't really, help if you start like just hacking up a lung halfway through a song. Um, this is a really unique series so far. I'm not 100% sure what I feel about it yet. Like, I'm very much fascinated by it. I'm very much interested in it, but I don't know truly what I feel about it. we're just going to kind of have to continue and find out and try to see what kind of opinion I can form here. Because I'm still kind of just unsure. Um, and I almost feel like this is kind of like slowly working its way up. It's trying to like give us little bits at a time, just just to sate our appetite while not like fully going into what it's going to be yet. I feel like we haven't even really gotten a good feel for what this series is going to end up being, and probably won't until the second half of the season, which would be if there's what 13 episodes, it would be after episode 6. I think a lot of this is set up. A lot of this is just kind of preparing us and introducing us to this world and how everything works and all. It's I don't know. I feel like I'm mixed on it right now. On what I feel like, there's nothing I like hate or anything. Don't get that wrong. It's just like I don't know what to feel. It's it's a type of series I normally don't watch. Keep that in mind as well. Not specifically Magical Girl necessarily, but just the tone and style of the series. It's like this is not. If you watch any of my other like reactions for anime or I guess even Western cartoons and stuff, it's like yeah, it's I don't usually react to and watch these kind of shows. Excuse me. It's not as it's just not as much my thing. Um, this is a donation reward, of course, so I'm glad to check it out. And again, there's a lot of it that's really wowed me so far. Um, in terms of just not expecting it and being to some degree invested in finding out what the hell's going on. But it's not like one of those series that completely captures my investment. It's not like Chainsaw Man or Jujutsu Kaisen or One Piece or Carol and Tuesday. Shows like that that pretty much instantly capture my investment and make me a fan really quickly. This is a series that it's like I don't know what I think. I don't know where I'm at with this show at any given time, and I'm just kind of confused. I'm trying to take it by ear. I'm trying to take it like one step at a time, one episode at a time, and give it as much opportunity as possible. But it's like it's just that case of not knowing what to think about it. And because of that, it kind of comes across as a very confusing experience. Um, I don't know. Like I said, we'll continue to give it a shot. We'll continue to go through it. We'll more than likely, I'd say it's pretty strongly, practically guaranteed that we'll finish out the season at least. At this point, it's like I don't feel a desire to drop it or anything. Um, it's just I don't know what to think. That's all I'm saying. I know a lot of this sounds repetitive, but I don't know what else to say here. So, because I don't know what else to say, let's just get this started. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I just woke up. So like this is first recording of the day and I am still tired. Either way, let's get this guy. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. It's gotta be. It absolutely has to be her. Like, the hair color is different, but again, that can be explained through various means. It's just the hairstyle when her hair is down is exactly the same. I would probably have to listen to the voice again to get a good feel for that, but like it showed the blood on her case and everything. It's gotta, like, right after the assassination happened and everything. It's gotta be. And why would her phone be broken? Unless, like, and with the blood on the case, she probably got into like the assassination and everything, and the phone broke at some point because of it. And it's like, what the fuck? She's like, I am almost 100% convinced that she is a spy. I don't know for who. I don't know, like, if she's working for someone or if she's like leading some group. I don't know, like, what the ultimate goal is here, but she's manipulating and torturing Chris, as we found out her name is, and forcing her to use this other armor, this other Symphogear, which this explains why Chris would have a Symphogear, because she has the connections with all of that. Like, was I supposed to see this coming before this? Am I stupid that I didn't see this coming? Like, this is like practically guaranteed at this point, right? Like, how the fuck else am I supposed to see this? Like, it even showed during the fight, during everything that was happening, Chris looked back at Ryoko for guidance. Like, clearly, like, freaked out, wondering what to do. The way she looked back at Ryoko was not just like, oh, what's this bitch gonna do? No, she was looking back at her, like, to ask, like, what do I do? Come on! I know I just woke up before recording this, but I cannot just be imagining things here. And on top of that, like, we need to fucking save Chris, like, right fucking now, because Chris is being horrifically abused and manipulated, and it's I compared in the reaction to Misty from My Little Pony Make Your Mark. If you've seen the new G5 series Make Your Mark for MLP, Misty, if you haven't, I'll explain here. Misty is a character who is kind of being shown as the sidekick to the main villain, Opaline. And it's made very clear in the first 8 episodes that have been released so far that she is being manipulated and abused by Opaline in order to, you know, act as a quote-unquote willing co-conspirator in a way. She's being mistreated and abused constantly. But the manipulation is so strong that Misty thinks that this is what she wants, when there's been hints of what she really wants, and little moments where it kind of shows like Misty like would be so much happier with the main 5, and I feel like it's clearly working towards that direction. And it's like, I'm getting those kind of exact same vibes here, except obviously the abuse is a lot more like physically abusive in this case. Um, Ryoko, and I'm just fucking gonna call her Ryoko because at this point, like everything points to that. Um, she is physically torturing Chris to make her submissive and subservient. And if you know anything about me, you know that I fucking hate that. You know that that pisses me off and instantly makes me sympathetic for Chris. And it's like, okay, so this show is just going to be a bunch of trauma babies who we need to protect, who can also fight, so they can kind of protect each other and themselves to some degree. Um, but we need to save them from people like that who want to use and abuse them. It's just a bunch of trauma babies trying to get over their trauma by fighting evil aliens and even evil humans, it seems. And it's I look seriously. Every single Symphogear user we've seen so far has been a trauma baby. Kanade was excessively like aggressive because of her trauma. Subasa's trauma comes from Kanade's death. Hibiki's trauma comes from her near-death experience. And now Chris from being fucking tortured and horrifically manipulated. It's just like every single one. Is that just going to be a running theme here? Like, is every Symphogear user in this we're going to see, are they all going to be trauma babies? Are we going to have to collect them all? Is this like Pokemon? What moves does your trauma baby know? I'm making a joke out of this because, like, legitimately, I got really fucking upset at Chris being tortured like that and manipulated. That really legitimately pisses me off. And the fact that it practically confirms that it was Ryoko pisses me off even more. Because it's like, Ryoko was never like a character I loved or anything, so it's not like a betrayal kind of situation. I always found her a little much, to put it lightly. Um, but at the same time, I didn't suspect her of anything. I didn't really like think she was suspicious. I just thought she was, a lot to handle. So to find out that she's actually like some kind of spy and that she's the bad guy in all of this, or at least a bad guy, it's like I don't know how to handle this. But I know I hate her now. Because anyone who would do that kind of shit. Also, why the fuck was she naked? Like, what was the point of that? Like, I know we've seen that Ryoko is, like, has been, like, weirdly and kind of needlessly flirty and shit before. That she got a little weird in some of the things she said with towards Hibiki and all. But at the same time, it's like, you're just going to strip butt ass naked in front of this girl, this young girl, who you also have on a torture machine dressed in very unflattering clothing, while you're constantly taunting, manipulating, and abusing her. It's like, the fuck? Is this some kind of power play? Some kind of insane power play? Like, Or is she just fucking gross? Like, that's a possibility, too. She could just be a fucking gross piece of shit. Which I kind of think might be the case. Um, this is... This took a turn in this episode I was not prepared for. Like, even if, like, we thought, like, okay, Chris, who we didn't know her name before, but still, even if we thought, like, okay, she could maybe be turned over to the good side and everything, um, it's like the specifics of this were just not anywhere near my radar. The torture and manipulation, Ryoko being a bad guy, it's like none of this was near my radar. Also, just the violent assassination part of that, like that part of this episode just like caught me completely off guard. I wasn't expecting that. Though maybe I should have been with how this fucking series started out, with episode 1 just like completely throwing me off in every way. Like, what the fuck? And now because of Ryoko, I'm suspicious of other people too. It's like I don't have a reason to be suspicious of the manager guy. I can't think of his name right now, but I am. It's like that when he was talking to Hibiki. It's like my radar was up. I was like thinking like, can I trust you? I don't know. I don't know who I can trust. Like I said, kind of the only one I do trust at this moment is the Uncle Commander Uncle, him. Yeah, he's like the only one I can trust right now. Plus, obviously, Hibiki and Tsubasa and all, but it's like everyone else is just instantly suspicious to me now because of that. Even if they've done nothing to be suspicious, it's just an instant like kind of I guess fight or flight reflex. Like I'm on such high alert because of Ryoko that it's like just everyone is suspicious to me now. And Hibiki wielded the the weapon that awakened the sword. It's like is she gonna continue to be able to wield that? What's the deal with that? I'm sure we'll get more answers on that. I'm sure we will. But it's like we need to rescue Chris like right fucking now because we need to save this trauma baby because like it's gonna really upset me just if we see more of that. I'm sorry, but it really is. Like I don't know if it's like just because of abuse I've faced and people who have manipulated me. I don't know if it's because of being in those kind of situations or if it's just empathy towards people or if it's even um it if it's something else even too just you know but seeing someone be tortured like that, seeing this kind of horrific treatment and everything just really, really bothers me. And I just, I really, really want to see Chris saved here. Because it genuinely, like, I don't know how well I'll be able to put up with that. Um, Going forward if it does continue. And it's like they can't try to keep this secret for too much longer, right? Like even if they were trying to be subtle in this episode about it, it's like people are gonna realize that was Ryoko. Like that was it wasn't really as subtle as as it looked like they were trying to be at least. It's just I tend to really have a empathetic and sympathetic attitude towards people who are in really bad situations because of having been in bad situations myself, because of, again, just the empathetic nature of it, and me tending to, care about people or whatever else. But it's like seeing that kind of thing, I just, it really bothers me, especially when it's a kid. Like, Chris probably isn't, if she is older than Subasa, probably not by a lot. Subasa's 17, right? That's what you guys told me. If she is older than Subasa, it's probably barely. I'd say she's probably around the same age, actually. She's older than Hibiki, I would say that, but I think she's probably around the same age as Subasa. And in which case, she's just a baby. Like, come on. Like, I use the word trauma babies a lot, and it's like I've heard other people use it and all, or not the word, the phrase. Um, I've heard other people use it in various media and stuff. Like I've heard people use it when talking about Owl House, for example, especially Hunter, and it's like, yeah, that's fitting. But it's like I just don't have a better like phrase to use here because it's so blindingly fitting to all of these characters. They're going through so much like trauma here, and it's like I feel so fucking bad for all of them, and I just want to see them happy. And it's like that's part of the conflict I mentioned that I have with this series, that I mentioned in like the pre thoughts and all. Because it's like, while I'm not fully sure what I think of the series yet, there are certain things that I, without question, have really grown attached to. One is just the blinding insanity of this show, because Jesus fuck, it goes from 0 to 100 in no time. But also, I care about these characters. Like, that's probably one of the biggest things because, as I've stated in the past, for me at least, story and character are more important than anything else. You can have a series that has absolute shit animation, but if the story and character are fantastic, it makes up for it entirely. Now, obviously, you want good animation, but I'm just saying. Um, so when I start to care about the characters in a series, that's a very good thing because that makes me want to keep watching because I want to see them succeed. I want to see them safe. I want to see them happy. I want to see them, have a good life. And so seeing characters like that who I have care for be facing trauma like this, it's it's upsetting. It bothers me. But it also hooks me in because I want to see them come out of that. I want to see them fight against that trauma. And it's just this series is doing very well at that. About making you sympathetic and empathetic towards its characters. And I can't deny that right now is the main appeal for me of Symphogear. The story and all is still kind of confusing, if I'm being honest. I'm kind of like Hibiki here. I'm not fully getting it. I'm not fully grasping it all. But I think that's almost kind of intentional. I think you're supposed to like kind of get it more and more as the series progresses, which a lot of shows, like, that's how it goes. You're not supposed to understand everything right off the bat. Um, but yeah, so it's like I don't fully grasp that yet. The insanity of how quick it changes like that is it makes it fun and interesting and shocking, but it's just like a very like sudden temporary value to that. Um, the art and animation is good, nothing amazing, but good. The music is good. It's like, but the real appeal for me is the characters. It's like they are just like shining so hard amongst everything else. It's like that is what is, like, in my opinion, truly the star of this show right now. More than anything else, it's the cast, specifically the Symphogear users. Like more so than the others in the agency and everything. Um, I guess Miku to a degree as well. Um, but yeah, the Symphogear users specifically, the trauma babies. It's like I am very attached to them. And that's a good thing because the show is clearly trying to make me attached to them. That's very clearly the point. But it's like seeing seeing Subasa struggle with her self-worth bothers me because I've been there. I've struggled with my self-worth to the point where I have been suicidal because of lack of self-worth and other things, mind you, but still. Um, Seeing Hibiki have to deal with all of this being thrust on her, have to deal with basically having abandoned her best friend, having to deal with, living up to the expectations set upon her through what happened at that concert and everything. It's like she has so much pressure put on her. And that's not, and she's putting on a happy face, but that's got to be eating away at her. And I feel for her because, again, that's something I've faced. And now Chris is being physically, violently, horrifically tortured, as well as being manipulated. She's a victim, but is being coerced into not feeling like a victim. She's been made to believe that this is normal, that this is natural, that this is what should be happening, and that's fucked up beyond belief. Like she gets tortured by this bitch and she smiles about it. It's like nothing about that is okay. I apologize if I seem pretty manic right now or anything. It's just this genuinely bothers me, and it's not as a issue with the show at all. Like it's a positive towards the show because you're clearly supposed to be bothered by it. It's not You're not supposed to like what's going on. And I very much do not like what's going on. So success. But also, Jesus fuck, I hate it. Ugh. So I'm sorry if like these afterthoughts have just been kind of rambling about this shit. It's with no real cohesive direction. It's just I want them to be okay. Like I genuinely, strongly want these trauma babies to be okay. Obviously, that's out of the question for Kanade. Like, she's not going to be okay ever again, which only adds trauma to Tsubasa. Hmm. But it's like, for those who are still around and those who might be coming, I want them to be okay. I don't want them to be in pain. I want them to be happy. It's like, the funniest part about it is, like, in the past couple episodes, Chris was just this kind of mysterious, bad guy who you wondered, like, what was the deal with, and, like, the big question was obviously like, could they be redeemed and everything? And then in this episode, it like practically starts off with like, oh yeah, by the way, you're going to love this character, and you're going to feel super bad for her, and you're going to fucking despise that bitch for torturing her. It's like just instantly, in one small scene, completely flips you on Chris's character and makes you genuinely want to see her just impale this bitch on a wooden stake or something. I don't know. I want her dead. I do want her dead. I very much want her dead for what she did to Chris there. Like, I should probably stop this reaction or this redirect now because I'm starting to get dark. I'm starting to get dark and I'm starting to get aggressive, and it's probably not healthy. Ugh. So I guess tell me in the comments what you thought of this episode because I clearly had some thoughts. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.